Commissioner Hoffman.
Present.
Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Lark. Is he here?
Yeah.
Commissioner Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Ruddy.
Here.
Commissioner Sweeney. Madam Chair, you have a quorum. You're looking for Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Sweeney.
Okay, I'm sure they'll be along shortly. We'll call the meeting to order and just confirm that the meeting today was advertised in accordance with the Sunshine Act.
It was, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And of course, we had our executive session this morning to review some internal matters and speak with council. Start the public meeting with the minutes from August and September, which I understand still require some work. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so is there a motion to table the minutes from August 27th until our next meeting in October?
So moved.
I'll make a motion. Okay, so I will hear a motion from Commissioner DeBunda. Was there a second?
Second for Brenizer.
Thank you, Commissioner Brenizer. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Now for the September 10th special work meeting to look at the budget. Is there a motion to table those meetings?
Move to table.
Meeting minutes.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Rogers. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Ruddy seconded.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Reddy. Questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to the presentations. Tom will start with the raising fund for August.
Thank you. The beginning cash balance was $7,162,000. In August, we distributed the surplus from June to the Thoroughbred Breeders Fund and the Thoroughbred Sire Stakes Fund. That totaled $2.3 million. Total revenue for the month was a little over $2 million. Total expenditures were $1,844,000 for a total ending cash balance of $5,038,000.
May we ask them to
It's abundant.
Yeah, could everybody who's on Teams mute your microphone?
It's Russell, I'm joining the meeting.
Thank you, Russell. All right, moving on to the commission. Total revenue was a little over $1 million, $1,009,000. The personnel costs were $730,000. For the month, it was slightly higher than normal. The reason for that is timing. There's an extra 2 weeks pay period in there to come back to the levels that we're accustomed to in the next month. And operating costs were $84,000, nothing accentuating there, for total expenditures of $814,000. Moving on to testing, revenues were a little over $1,042,000. Personnel costs were $630,000. Same issue applies to the commission. It's an extra pay in there. It will come back down in the next period to customary levels. Under operating was $416,000. The line items are within reason. Total expenditures $1,047,000. On promotions, there's no additional revenue. It's a one-time transfer. Advertising, $5,000 went to one of the fairs. At this point in time, I just want to reiterate, to receive the promotion money, you have to submit a business plan and a budget. I believe 3 or 4 of the organizations haven't. The other ones need to submit in order to process invoices. So I would strongly suggest those that didn't, and I won't out anybody, but I would suggest that you submit it and don't call me in 2 weeks and ask where the money is. Moving on, Madam Chair, to the comparative year over year. Total revenue is 3.3 million versus 1.8. If you remember last year, the testing money didn't come until September or October. That's the reason for the variance. Personnel costs are 2.3 versus 1.7. That's going to level out as we progress. And also remember, compared to last year, there was an increase. Under operating expenses, 1.1 versus 1.9. The major reason for that is there are 2 UPenn bills pending downtown that have been submitted for payment. That'll catch up next month. Overall, total expenditures for the month are 3.5 versus 3.6. The next 3 pages deal with restricted funds, the PA Breeding, Sire Stakes, and the PA Standardbred Breeders Development Fund. That's the complete report on the financial statements, Madam Chair.
Thanks, Tom. Any questions on that before we move on to HISA? Okay, Tom, please proceed.
Just a quick update on HISA and litigation, basically. As you remember, the Fifth Circuit Court ruled about 60, 70 days ago that a portion of the act was constitutional and a portion was unconstitutional. HISA then requested, and we were pending a mandate from the Fifth Circuit Court. HISA requested the Fifth Circuit Court to delay making the mandate official while the authority had the ability to petition the Supreme Court. At that point in time, the Fifth Circuit Court denied HISA's request. Last night, the Supreme Court intervened, directing the Fifth not to issue the pending mandate, what's called an administrative stay. Under this guise, that the Supreme Court has requested briefs. They may or may not have oral arguments, but quite frankly, this is strictly an administrative matter. This is just to determine if there should be a stay and if the stay is in place. It's not based on the merits of the case. Any questions, Madam Chair? Moving along, the next item on the agenda is the fiscal year 25-26 proposed budget. On September 10th, there was a session that dealt with the budget. It was presented, questions were asked. At that point in time, Tony and I went through the 25-26 budget and made some adjustments. On the commission side, we reduced travel and training by about $25,000. We reduced conference expenses by another $5,000. Basically, we ended up at 8.185 versus 8,155,000, which is about a 6% increase, and that lays basically within the personnel. On the testing side, Tony and I went back and reviewed. We cut training and travel by $20,000. We cut medical, mental, and dental by $50,000. We reduced contracted services by $25,000 and wearing apparel by $5,000, which reduced it by $100,000. In addition, we went back to UPenn per the Commission's directive, and Dr. Robinson reduced the $7.9 million to $7,850,000, basically $840,000 to 7.5, which is equivalent to what it was this current year. So there's no raise from the UPenn budget process. And there's one line item in there for $600,000, which is equipment. That's not an automatic spend. That's commission discretion, and it will only be used if a piece of equipment breaks and needs to be replaced. Those are the changes we made. There's an item on the budget or on the agenda for later for administrative action, but I think it's appropriate at this time just to be perfectly clear. What the commission is requesting is spending authority, and that is just simply the ability to spend to that level. If you take a look at the last 8 years or 9 years that we've done this, the spending authority has always been higher than the actual budget. Tony, as the Standardbred Bureau Director, myself as Thoroughbred Bureau Director, take great pride in making sure financially we're prudent and stay within the lines. So all this is basically to set a limit, a top end limit. And the reason it's done, because it's a Commonwealth nuance, I guess. If you don't have the ability to spend, if something happens, you're in serious trouble. So the commission over the last 9 years has set the spending authority higher than what we actually spend. To that end, PDA has to submit racing has to submit their PDA by the beginning of October, and it goes down to the governor's office in GBO second week of October. A point noted is, while this is spending authority, the commission will continue to work to mitigate sources and develop any new revenue sources to help offset any costs. Any questions, Madam Chair?
Not from me. Any of the commissioners have a question? Okay.
Yeah, and Tom, I appreciate the cuts that you proposed. I just want to make sure you're comfortable with that spending limit, dealing with what might happen, or are you comfortable with those numbers?
Tony and Commissioner DeMond, Tony and I are. I think that based on what we've seen in the past couple of years, there's enough protection there that the commission and the industry is protected. So we would recommend moving forward with that.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you both. Why don't we move on to some of our reports from our colleagues, starting with the PHRA marketing report. Pete and Ashley, if you're in the room.
They're coming up now, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Pete, before we start, just make sure each of your panel identify themselves for the report.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
My name is Pete Peterson. I'm president of Pennsylvania Horse Racing Association. I'm joined by Ashley Eisenbiel and Jalen McManus from our team, and Donna Mock, who recently took the position of executive director at HISA, was kind enough to join us and discuss what she worked on when she was employed with PHRA in the past year. So, just a reminder to commissioners, the PHRA was formed in 2018 as an outgrowth of new legislation that was approved by the State House and State Senate, which allocated 1% of the Racehorse Development Trust Fund to marketing efforts. So our focus is to support a statewide integrated marketing campaign that also works with all of the tracks and the horseman breeder associations to support their individual initiatives. First, I want to start off by just thanking our team. They're very passionate about what they do. They put a lot of effort into everything, and they consistently go above and beyond. And what they do on a daily basis is hard to really capture in some of these analytics and figures, but they really put their heart and soul into everything they do. So we've learned a lot in the past, since the past few years. We've now taken a lot more in-house, which allows us to stretch those marketing dollars even further and do more. We're paying much less to consultants, and our staff, as a result, has taken on much more burden and work themselves. So I want to thank the team for doing all that. In terms of our executive summary, the highlights for the past year, our website saw a 107% increase in users, with 20.8% increase in sessions. Our main focus is marketing tactics. We use a variety of different platforms to do so. We do advertising digital platforms, we do traditional marketing, and we use social media, both paid and organic. So this is in the past year, this is our second year for Caretakers Day. It's a day we go out and kind of let the people who work on the backside, let them know how much they're appreciated. So we do that in conjunction with the different associations. That has been a great success. We also provide support to the tracks for their major events, major race days. And in the past year, we've taken on a couple of new initiatives. We've Donnell and Ashley launched the podcast, which has been very well received and continues to grow month over month in terms of listenership. And we've placed a greater emphasis on using influencers to kind of help spread the word in addition to paid marketing and advertising efforts. And lastly, we had great success in our public relations efforts. I'll get more into that later in the presentation. Turn it over to Ashley.
Good afternoon, Ashley Eisenbiel, ASHLEYEISENBEIL, and I'm the Marketing Director for the Pennsylvania Horse Racing Association. I just want to point out to the commissioners that we are going through a condensed version of the report. You guys have a much more robust report that we printed out. So I'm going to call out some of these slide numbers so you know what page we're on. So we're going to start on slide 7 for the website. If you want to go to the next slide and the next one, there we go. Thank you. One of our primary focuses in our marketing strategy at PHRA is to drive traffic to the PennHorseRacing.com. As Pete said, in 2023-2024 was PHRA's first year of implementing campaign strategies and ad buying in-house, and the outcomes surpassed our expectations. PHRA saw a 107% increase in visits to the website, a 20% increase in sessions, a 24% decrease in our bounce rate, which indicates an improved user experience with our new homepage, 2% increase in the average time spent on the website, and a 19.6% increase in our page views. Our top traffic sources continue to be our organic social and our organic searches, followed by the channels from our paid campaigns. The top visited pages on PHRA's website, first one is full cams. Full cams did experience an 8% decrease from last year due to a reduction in our advertising budget. The home page was our second, and it had a 4.8% increase in visits. And then third, we saw a 204% increase in the track information page, which was very good to see. So I'm going to hand it off to Jalen.
Jalen McManus, JAYLINMCMANUS. For a second year, we worked with Whistler Wind Farm and Delaware Valley University to host our full cams. It ran from February 1st until April 1st, and we had 5 pairs full online. Although the full cam page was down 8% this year, the sessions, users, and new users were up. Sessions were up 38%, users were up 124%, and new users were up 136%. Along with posting about full cams organically on social media, we conducted paid campaigns to help drive traffic to the page. We conducted paid social campaigns, Google Ads, and OTT through Jamloop. Our total spend for full camps was $10,279. We had 982,000 impressions and 53,974 clicks.
Donna Mock, DAWNELLEMOCK. So for our organic social media on page 10 here, you can see that we had increases overall on most of our platforms. You know, the algorithms are ever changing on social media, so we try hard to stay on top of the trends, and I think we did a really great job last year. A lot of things are going more towards videos, reels, TikToks, so we have implemented where we were trying to do 3 videos per week with trending sounds, so we were always staying on top of that. You'll see our impressions organically are over 1 million. We worked on our engagement, so making posts that get the fans' engagement, ask them questions, see what they're most excited about for the year. And we also make sure that we're posting regularly. So you can see that across the platform. So we had a really great increase, and all across the board on followers, we're always gaining traction and gaining followers. And then if you want to go to the Spanish organic social media, we had some struggles with Spanish. We're working with DRF Espanol. And with budget cuts, it was hard to make the Spanish grow organically. Twitter is where we're trending the most. It's showing that a lot of the Spanish audience is on Twitter. Facebook and Instagram, not as many people on there, but the Instagram page did grow a little bit, so you can see that on our organic numbers. As far as our paid social media insights, we spent close to $38,000 and we had great results. You can see our click-through rate is at a nice spend at 25 cost per click, 25 cents. We had clicks of close to 150,000. Our impressions were 7.6 million and our reach was 2.8. So our ads were being seen for all of the campaigns that we ran, and in your reports you'll see that there's a breakdown of the campaigns and how those did. But it was organic, or paid social-wise, we're doing really great. We had a few issues when we took over, but we got a Facebook rep, and that has really helped us. Now our ads are always up and running when they're supposed to be, and they're always working with us to tweak those ads to make sure that they're reaching the audience that we want them to reach, and that we're getting that engagement and impressions.
On to Google Ads. We continue to use Google Ads to drive traffic to our website and to increase our brand awareness. So we spent just a little under $25,000 for the year. We had 1.6 million impressions, as well as 70 conversions to our contacts page. We had 49,000 clicks, and our click-through rate was 2.9%. Also, our cost per click was 49 cents, which is below the industry average, which is about $1 to $2.
Consider my age in this question. What is an impression?
So the impression is a view on your ad. So anybody who sees the ad and spends time on a page where it stays up on the page, or like on social media, where it's like over three seconds, isn't it? Yeah. So they actually see it and view it for an extended period of time.
On to the next slide. We worked with Jamloop for OTT, which is over-the-top media. We did streaming TV and pre-roll ads. And later in the year, we also introduced programmatic banners. All of these digital ads are used to target our specific audience with specific ads and increase our brand awareness. So for the year, we spent $66,000 with Jamloop. We had over 3 million impressions, 2.6 million completed video views. We reached 1.1 million households, and the video completion rate was 85%. Also, the average frequency was 2.73, so the consumers were being served their ads at least 2 times. We also worked with Odyssey for podcasting and streaming, as well as geofencing. Geofencing allows us to target a specific location for one day. So we targeted all of the casinos on Kentucky Derby Day, and then retargeted those consumers for 3 months with ads. We spent $35,000 for the year. We had 3.2 million impressions, 5,730 clicks, and the click-through rate was 0.38, which is above the industry average, which is at 0.12%.
Over the past year, we tried to use influencers because this is a growing way that companies are getting their brand out there. So for Penn Mile, we had 2 local influencers come in, one named Gail and one named Ashley, each of them with 300,000 followers. And what they do is you have these influencers come in, they attend the event and post about, well, they posted leading up to the event, like their outfits, what they're gonna wear, what's going on at the event to bring awareness that this event is happening in the area. So we had really great success with the influencers. We also, for Adios, use Trotter House. So this is a Western content house that also has been used by the USTA and Meadowlands Racing. They are familiar with racing. So we brought them in Adios week the day before, took them around to the barns to grab content. And you'll see their videos stay up on their pages, TikTok and Instagram. And right now, when we made this report, all the videos, each of the guys posted about 3 to 4 videos each on their pages, and then on the Trotter House page as well. And all those videos have over 500,000 views. So you're bringing a lot of new eyeballs to the sport and making them aware of what's going on. And the same with the Penn Mile girls. They had a ton of views on their videos to show that this is the way. So influencers are a new way for companies to use advertising. It's just a way that you can sell out things and bring new audiences in. So that's just a little bit about the influencers that we did.
So I'm on slide 27. In 2023-2024, PHRA continued our grassroots efforts at the tracks with big race days. During these events, the PHRA's booth sold merchandise and proceeds benefiting aftercare programs in Pennsylvania. We also collected entries for our Sizzling Steak Sweeps, which expands our email database. We distributed tip sheets and offered wagering assistance to new fans. To engage with fans during these events, we introduced track trivia. Track trivia questions were displayed on the jumbotrons between races, and participants signed up for PHRA's text notifications with their answers for a chance to win prizes at the PHRA booth. We had significant participation at Penn National and at PID on the track trivia, which we were really pleased with. In 2024, we expanded our PHRA booth at the Pennsylvania Farm Show with the support of the PTHA and Turning for Home. This allowed us to sell merchandise alongside doing our virtual reality simulators. And as Pete said, this year was our second year for Pennsylvania's annual Caretakers Day, where we honor industry caretakers across the Commonwealth. We collaborated with the racetracks and associations to provide caretakers with meals, sweatshirts, gloves, and giveaways as tokens of our appreciation. Bellevue Communications also invited media to come out and meet some of our caretakers at the Meadows, Penn National, Parks Racing, and Harrah's.
Last year, Ashley and I launched the Hot to Trot podcast. I'm hoping most of you have got to listen to it so far. But the podcast has been really growing and has brought great audiences. We've had a lot of great feedback on it. You can see in your packets, we have a breakdown of the guests that we've had. So we've tried to incorporate both the thoroughbred side, the breeders, and the harness racing side, and have a variety of guests that we've had on. You can see that we've had over close to 8,000 views, probably more now that this has been printed out. The videos, it is audio and video, and it's available on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. And the whole reason we decided to do a podcast was because podcast is a growing area. This allows people to listen when they want to listen to the podcast, and it also just let us do something new for horse racing. So there wasn't a lot out there for horse racing in a podcast form. So we did this to hopefully bring awareness to horse racing within Pennsylvania and horse racing overall. And it's been very successful in my opinion. We've had a lot of greatness with it, and I'm just going to talk about the numbers on it.
So the podcast has now evolved into a bi-weekly show featuring guests from across the state, including drivers, jockeys, trainers, owners, and key figures in Pennsylvania horse racing's industry. Additionally, we have also produced some pre-event episodes, including the Kentucky Derby episode and the Pennsylvania Pick 4 and Keystone Daily Double episode, where we gave insight on the races and wagers happening on those days. As Donette said, our podcast is performing extremely well. We've reached top 100 and sports news podcasts on Apple Podcasts for several of our episodes. And since this actually was created, this presentation, we were number 3 in Switzerland last month. So that was a big kudos. I was very pleased with that. So in a lot of other countries, we are ranking consistently under the top 100. But our goal is to be under the US top 100, always. With Donnell's departure from PHRA, we remain committed to continue the podcast with special guest hosts joining me until we can find a permanent host.
All right, moving on to slide 38.
Can we stop there? Pete, can we stop there for a minute?
Absolutely.
How do you judge whether or not Hot to Trot is successful or not? I heard some numbers from Michael. What's your criteria for determining whether or not that podcast has been a successful one or not?
The views and engagement that we receive on the podcast, so we get a report every episode from Cold Creative, and then also I have another report company that I use called Chartable that lets us know where we rank in listeners in our category, which is sports news. And that allows me to understand what content is doing the best, and then how many people are actually following us on and getting notifications when we release new episodes on YouTube, Spotify, and on Apple. People can leave comments, and also we have the newsletter, and we send out emails every time we release a new episode, and the engagement that we get with those emails.
And do we have an idea of what it costs us and how much and what results we get for that cost?
As of right now, we have a sponsorship with the Standard Road Breeders Association that covers the majority of the cost for the podcast. I could get some numbers for you, but I don't have that off the top of my head right now. But I can share that with you guys tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to public relations outreach. A key part of our efforts is to supplement our paid marketing efforts with public relations efforts, able to reach another audience that we may not be reaching through direct marketing advertising campaigns. So for the 23-24 fiscal year, we started off with highlighting 2023 Pennsylvania Derby and Justin Paquette as the first grade one announcer. You can see from the slide the extensive coverage we got, and I believe in the packets that the commissioners have, if you have electronic versions of those, there are clickable links. You can view each of these articles if you'd like in the future. Other major events were Caretakers Day, Pennsylvania Farm Show. We had some great success with Women's History Month and the Female Jockey at Penn National. Full camp coverage continued to do very well as well. And actually partnered with Saddle Harrisburg to provide some educational efforts and bring some inner city youth out to Penn National to learn about caring for horses at the track. That had great success and great coverage, and I'll show you a clip a little bit from some of that coverage. And of course, we continue to promote the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness Stakes, which was very well received with Uncle Hetty participating. And we also do track media alerts on a regular basis. Next slide, please. We use a service called Critical Dimension that enables us to track the audience size of those broadcasts and print and online coverage as well as radio, as well as what would cost the value of that media coverage. So in other words, what it would cost to go out and purchase those ads if it wasn't earned media. So for the past year, our total local TV audience in terms of earned media coverage was 3.6 million people with a publicity value of $740,000. The radio coverage had an audience of 746,000, and the print and online coverage was 265 million people. The total value of that, in terms of what it costs to purchase those, is $3.2 million. So on to the next slide, I'm going to show you just, again, these should be in your packets in terms of clip, if you don't watch these, but here's some of the highlights in terms of PR coverage, just to give you a sense of how we're reaching out and what the public is seeing when we're out there promoting these events. Can you click that link, please?
County, some kids wrapped up a week-long summer camp today with a new appreciation for horses. Saddle Up Harrisburg gives inner city kids the opportunity to spend more time on a farm working around horses for the first time. The goal is to get them interested in equestrian jobs like horse training and riding while teaching them respect and responsibilities. One camp director says she never met a horse before hearing about Saddle Up Harrisburg.
City girl at heart, but really this was drawn to me because my then 2-year-old wanted to ride, and so I put the supermom cape on and decided, let's find out about this, let's learn about it, and ever since for the past 5 years we've been kind of delving deeper and deeper.
First of all, the horses, they're very nice. You get to ride. Also just a nice experience here.
They love all the different things that we bring to teach them, and that it's okay to be different. And it's okay to be a little shy in the beginning, and then by the end of the camp experience, you see a whole different kid.
Many of the horses on the farm were retired from Penn National Racetrack, so they are well trained and used to being around people.
What a great thing.
So that was one of 5 TV stations that covered the event, and in many of these cases, it aired, not just on evening broadcast, but they aired throughout the weekend as well, so we got multiple views over the course of the next few days following the events. If you did the next slide. This is actually discussed as Caretakers Day. We go out and just kind of show our appreciation for caretakers. This is a clip from WGAL, the NBC affiliate. They actually went out and did several live broadcasts throughout the morning, so this is one of those clips.
Today is Pennsylvania Horse Racing Caretakers Appreciation Day. News 8's Jake Reyes reports from Penn National Racecourse.
It's race day, and riders are hitting the tracks early to practice, but the work they put in on the track would mean nothing without the grit from caretakers in the barn.
They mean everything. We don't have them, or whatever people are here in backside, and it's very complicated to do it. I can do it myself, and the trainer can do it themselves, so they mean everything to us.
The Pennsylvania Horse Racing Association making sure caretakers at Penn National and Grantville are being valued for their work. That's why Wednesday is Caretakers Appreciation Day. And among the caretakers being recognized is our 4-legged friend, Money Tree here. He's a retired racehorse, but he guides the current racehorses out onto the field, and he's been doing it for 5 years. At 5 in the morning, they begin to look after more than 650 horses, walking them around, preparing their breakfast, and shining them up for their superstar performances.
Happy horses run good races, and you gotta have those horses that, you walk in and you're like, hey buddy, and you want them to be happy.
Sarah Shearer has been a groom for 20 years and is just one of the 175 caretakers who enjoyed a free breakfast, a pair of gloves, and a hooded sweatshirt provided by the association. But to them, it's a nice token for life they love.
I like the horses. I've been a horse girl since I was a kid, and it's just progressed to this.
Jake Reyes, WGAL News 8.
Hi, I'm Jeff Rawson. Next on Rawson Reports, from artificial trees to
So that was a good example of the type of coverage we'd like to try to get, where we introduce the public to people behind the scenes and those who are employed in the industry. The next clip is the final one we have to show, which is some of the farm show coverage. This is a PCN clip. It aired multiple times, I think even multiple times a day during PCN's extensive coverage of the farm show. So you look at that.
I am the marketing director for the Pennsylvania Horse Racing Association, and I'm here to walk you through our booth here at Farm Show with our virtual reality simulators for horse racing. So first thing you're going to do when you come into our booth is you're going to be greeted and come over to this table and you're going to fill out a waiver. We have a waiver here that makes sure that you have a parent or guardian with you, and you have to be at least 12 years old to put on the goggles. But if you're under 12, we're happy to give you a ride on the simulator horses just without the goggles. We also have a couple stakes and contests going.
That's fine. Yeah, thank you. So that was one of 5 TV stations that covered the farm show. So, and again, all these clips should be linkable through your packet if you'd like to view them at a later date.
Next slide. I'm going to be on slide 34. Here you'll see the PHRA's budget for the first quarter of 2024-2025. July through September marks one of our busiest times in Pennsylvania horse racing because of all the major races that we have, like the Audios, the Sun Stakes, PA Day at the Races, the Masters, and Pennsylvania Derby. To support these campaigns and the events, PHRA has allocated $300,000 from the 23-24 budget for the Q1 efforts. So that's just a breakdown of the budget there. If you want me to go to the next slide, I'm on slide 36. So the year ahead, following a successful 23-24, PHRA is determined to exceed those accomplishments in this fiscal year. Our strategy includes keeping media buying and social media management in-house for more effective campaigns and cost savings. We will continue to direct traffic to the Pennsylvania Horse Racing website for a more user-friendly experience as a one-stop shop for fans seeking information about horse breeding and racing in our state. We plan to implement an influencer marketing strategy to expand our audience across social media platforms, in addition to growing our audience through the Hot to Trot podcast. We are thrilled to announce the upcoming Caretakers Day in November this year, where we will distribute hoodies and socks to dedicated caretakers in collaboration with the tracks and associations. Additionally, we plan to expand our educational programs on wagering and raise public awareness about the industry. So that is our report, if anybody has any questions.
I do. Daryl Brennheiser. You know, all those numbers are very impressive, and your presentation is very impressive. And I'm speaking on behalf of Standardbreds, not the Thoroughbreds. The things that I have a concern about is the tracks are struggling to maintain their handles, which again is important to our industry as far as our horsemen especially. And the other thing, I continue to see a declining attendance at the tracks. Is there any thought given to those two subjects in terms of how we might be able to increase handle and also get more people to the track?
Of course, with Handle, we have implemented doing picks every week, and we do the free PPs on the wagerwarriors.com. So for thoroughbreds, we actually give out one a week, and we rotate them between the 3 racetracks. But harness, most of the associations or all of the associations have free PPs that we advertise on our website and promote them through our social, along with giving our free picks of the day. I handicapped for tomorrow with the Meadows, and those picks will go out first thing in the morning across all of our social media platforms, just giving people kind of tips and tricks for wagering and that card that is going to be at the Meadows. But again, we do this every week. We feature one harness track and one thoroughbred track giving out picks, and we have a couple different people that submit them to us. For increasing attendance, that's where all of our advertising that we do. When you look more deeply into the packet you received, you'll see the Google ads and the paid social. We are targeting people within a 30-mile radius of the racetracks that are our target market to attend those races and know that those events are upcoming. And we've transitioned a lot of our content into video because that is more viewed now than still images on social media. So we are targeting audiences around each of those areas that have been outlined in our marketing research.
I just want to add one thing to that too. We do face a limitation in terms of driving, trying to assist with the handle because we do not have a gambling license as a nonprofit association. So we are restricted from certain types of advertising that promote gaming or gambling. So that was a problem we ran into pretty frequently on social media and some of our other ad platforms is without a gambling license, we can't mention the word gambling or placing a bet, that type of thing. So it's a challenge.
I have a question as well. It's a little more broad, but do you think we could be getting more from our marketing dollars? And I'm saying that because Kentucky, the Pennsylvania Derby was this weekend. We had Seize the Gray, a previous winner. D. Wayne Lucas is a story by himself. There was not a single article in the Inquirer beforehand. There wasn't a single article in the Inquirer afterwards. I didn't hear anybody talking about the race, that we want to go in, how we get to the race. There were 2 state reps and 1 state senator that I know you and I both saw, only there because there was a fundraiser. There's more state reps at the Kentucky Derby than the Pennsylvania Derby. And I don't know how we change that, but it seems like we lost an opportunity there. And I don't know how you get into the Inquirer, but the Inquirer does cover the Derby, the Preakness, the Belmont. How come we can't get something in there?
Well, as far as the state legislators, I know that PHRA typically invites them to come, and they work with their government relations officials to do that. So that's kind of outside of our scope. In terms of the local markets, I know there was some on the patches and other online platforms. We reached out to them, promoted it. The Philadelphia Inquirer we did not reach out to, which I'm happy to discuss with you offline about the reason for that. But that was an intentional decision at this point in time. But yeah, we do make a lot of effort to, sorry, go ahead, Sal.
I think a couple of years ago, Russell Jones suggested that legislators be part of the group that we tried to market to, because they turn over every 2 years and significantly. And I'm just wondering, do you still look at that as part of the audience you're trying to reach? Not to come to the Derby, but generally keep educated by having them visit, by having them give information about horse racing. Are they part of your target group? Because I remember Russell Jones specifically saying that we should basically be targeting them for giving them, educating them and giving them information. And I think to follow up on Tom Ellis's comment that didn't come true at the Pennsylvania Derby, is that part of what your target group is, or is that somebody else's job?
So can you repeat that last question, the last part of that?
Or is that part of what you think is your responsibility, or is that somebody else's job?
Yeah, under the terms of our grant agreement, we're restricted from direct lobbying of legislators. So it's something we intentionally shy away from as just an abundance of caution. So there's a period like we're using state tax or state dollars or state grant money to influence legislators. So it's something we stay away from as an association, leave it up to the individual associations or their government relations officials.
Let me follow up. If you didn't reach out to the Inquirer, I also didn't see anything on the network, on the news, channel 3, 6, or 10. It seems like all I'm seeing here is Harrisburg and Dauphin counties. What are you doing to
Yeah,
feel
we've
that?
had good success with Bucks County Herald Times, Delaware Valley Journal, and all the local TV stations, other events. Sometimes it can be hit or miss with different outlets. We did encourage television to come out for the premiere of the Smarty Jones documentary on Friday evening for the pre-festivities before the Derby. Unfortunately, it was at 5:30 on a Friday. It was a pretty tough time to get camera crews out, but we've had great success with getting local coverage of other events. Pennsylvania Derby weekends would tend to be tougher to get coverage, to be honest with you.
But the big races are weekends.
It is, but it's also when they're short-staffed as well, and they tend to rely on re-airing news throughout the week. There's very little original coverage generally. I think they maybe have 1 or 2 crews to cover the entire region on weekends, so it's a little bit more of a challenge. But like we did have good success, for example, with Kentucky Derby coverage, having them out to parks. Same with Uncle Hetty. There was a lot of coverage on Uncle Hetty leading up to Pennsylvania Derby, up to the Preakness rather, and being a local PA bred horse. So we have very good coverage both in the Lancaster market and the Philadelphia market particularly. Yes.
Again, just to tag on what Tom said, could you give consideration in the future to do some more promotion, like on our sire stakes? I mean, that's one of our biggest stakes of the year. And again, the participation is very low considering the event that it is.
So we primarily target a new audience, so they might not be familiar with the terms that we're using, like sire stakes. We're promoting newcomers, so we need the next generation of horse racing fans, and so we take baby steps and introducing them and carrying them through their journey of learning about horse racing and breeding. So we do promote things like the sire stakes when we do like our picks and things like that for those more advanced followers. But as we're generally talking to our audience, we like to talk in very simplistic terms of what we're trying to accomplish within the industry, which is making everybody feel comfortable learning more about horse racing. It's a very complex sport, as you all know, and wagering is just an added complexity. So it is very challenging when marketing to your audience and wanting to, what our goal always is to grow a fan base for the future of horse racing in Pennsylvania.
And Commissioner, I did want to something else came to mind too. We did have discussions with Parks and PHRA about inviting cameras out to build momentum leading up to the Pennsylvania Derby. Look behind the scenes, people going to helping make the event happen. As the event approached, we continued to have discussions with Parks, and we both agreed that at the time, given some other issues going on, it's best to back away from that. So we hope to resume that next year, going forward.
Any other questions?
Okay, if there's no other questions, I'll thank all of you for your presentation and ask Dr. Robinson if she'll give us a few words on the research program.
Madam Chair, Dr. Robinson is ill. She's home today. She's willing to do it online if you want, or we can push her till next month when she would be in attendance. Which would you prefer?
Yeah, I see Dr. Robinson's on the call, but I'll leave that to her.
I was going to leave it to you.
Okay. All right. We'll give you time to recover then, and we'll look forward to speaking with you more fully next month. Maybe.
I can recommend a good doctor.
Thank you. Thank you.
He happens to be a vet.
They're the best.
Maybe a little rest, and we'll confess to having gotten some drugs from my veterinarian once too.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
All right, let's move into the administrative action section. Tom, let's take a look at the simulcast calendar.
All right, the first motion, Madam Chair, is to approve the simulcast calendars for October 2024 for the standardbred racetracks. That would be for Harris, Philadelphia, Pocono Downs, and Mohegan, Pennsylvania, and the Meadows.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Brenizer. Is there a second?
Second.
And maybe you could identify yourselves.
Commissioner Hoffman, second.
Thank you for the sake of the record. Any discussion or questions on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
The next motion, Madam Chair, is to approve the simulcast calendars for October 2024 for the thoroughbred racetracks. That would be for Parks, Penn National, and Prescott Downs.
I'll make such a motion.
Okay, is that Commissioner DeBunda? Is there a second?
Second. Commissioner Ruddy.
Thank you, Commissioner Reddy. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes.
The next motion, Madam Chair, is a motion to take administrative action in consideration of the state fiscal year 25-26 proposed budget request.
Thanks, Tom. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Tom Ellis.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all. On to the industry reports. Tony, you want to take over?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, I'll just remind everybody for the benefit of the court reporter, please state your name and your affiliation. I see we have Scott Lisha here in person today, so Scott, will you welcome? Welcome, Scott.
Hello everyone, Scott Lisha, SCOTTLISHIA, Director of Racing at the Meadows. It's nice to see everyone, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. Thank you very much for the time. Came out today, we just finished up our September, obviously we're winding down. We just had a week off. We did some work on the racetrack that we traditionally do. Digging it up, scarifying it, it came out very good. We did some cleanup, a few other things around the paddock and things, so just trying to get ready for the winter. We're now back racing. We'll race 4 days a week this week. We're in the midst of our Keystone Classic races. We will switch then in October to 3 days a week. We've got a few things coming up. On Saturday, October 5th, we're hosting for the second year a Walk for Alzheimer's. The organization local out of Pittsburgh comes out. They actually walk on the racetrack, and it's been very nice. Last year they came, they wanted to come back again, so hopefully it's something we can build a little bit and make it better. Also then on the 11th, we're hosting, in conjunction with, the MSOA, fair finals, as well as corgi races, as well as family fun night, and probably a couple other things mixing in all at once. It's going to be our last evening of racing. Thank you to the commission for approving that a few meetings back, that I'm changed. So we're going to wind up the year and hopefully even have some corn dogs and cotton candy available for fair finals. So if you'd like to come out and spend an evening at the Meadows, we'd be really welcome to have you. And other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Scott.
Thank you very much.
We'll go to Mike Zellinger from Pocono. Mike?
Hi, Tony. It's Mike, M-I-K-E. His last name is Zellinger, Z-U-L-L-I-N-G-E-R. And I have no report this month. We're winding our race season down with 25 days to go. That's all. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Barry Brown from Harris. Barry?
Thanks, Tony. Barry Brown, B-A-R-R-Y-B-R-O-W-N, Director of Racing, Harris, Philadelphia. So we are getting closer to our break this year. We raced this past Friday night, our first night racing card of the year. We hosted the STA, the Standardbred Transition Alliance. They were out on our grandstand patio with a table set up, some of their staff. For those of you that are not familiar with them, they raise money and awareness for retired racehorses and their aftercare. We had them out this past Friday, had a really nice crowd, a lot of interest in their table. We're going to do it again this Friday night. This Friday night, the STA will be out again, and then we finish up Sunday, and then we go on a nearly 2-week break, and then we'll return the second week in October to finish out our season race through New Year's. The only other thing I'd like to add is I know there's in the conversation a little while ago regarding the on-track handle and on-track attendance in relation to the efforts with the PHRA. I look forward to in 2025 working with them on possibly doing more with our Sundays, our summer Sundays, to try to work on those issues regarding on-track attendance. I think there's so much more we can do, and I look forward to working with you guys next year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Barry. Thank you, Barry. Joe Wilson from Parks. Joe?
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Joe Wilson, W-I-L-S-O-N. We just wrapped up our big weekend with the PA Derby. There was a PTHA, had a cocktail party on Friday night. I'm sure Jeff will talk about that. Dave Owen and the office, again, put out a great card. We held $16 million on the card, which was the third highest of all time. I want to thank all the commission staff here for just providing a lot of support. Everybody stepped up. Jason and the big event team, it was much appreciated. Also, shout out to Ashley and Pete and Jalen for all their support leading up to PA Derby and on the day itself. Got a lot of information out for us. Took hold of the Keystone Double and the Pennsylvania Pick 4. I'm sure Matt will on that. And last thing, if you don't have a playbook for the My Racehorse group winning a race and trying to get 400 people into your winner circle, you should start planning it now. And again, with the help of Jason and that big event team, we managed to do it. So again, just congratulations to everyone involved with today. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Joe, and on behalf of the commission, congratulations to your staff for all their hard work too on a really great day. So, we'll go
Thank you, Tony.
Sure, Joe. Eric Johnson from Penn National. Eric. We have Eric. How about we go to Matt Ennis from Presque Isle. Matt. You know what? I think Matt, he's got something going on. I can remember he sent an email earlier. So, Mike Coran, PHRA. Mike.
Good afternoon, Mike Harant, Harant. As Barry and Mike said, we're in the home stretch of both our seasons right now. We've got about 25 days to go, and to be honest, I'm not even sure. I think 30 left at Chester. But we just finished up the fair season. Bloomsburg finished up Friday, Saturday. It's a great year with the fairs. We were really lucky with weather. I think, what did we lose? 1 day maybe? I mean, which is pretty impressive. Tells you how dry it's been in most of the state this summer. But fair finals are at the Meadows, and other than that, everything's pretty good. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. For the MSOA, we have both the president, Lisa Dunn, and the new executive director, Donnell Mock. So I'm not sure.
It'll take me longer to walk up than I'm going to say.
Good afternoon, Lisa Dunn, LISA-DUNN. Oh, there we go, now it's on. LISA-DUNN, President of the Meadows Standard Bread Owners Association. Everybody kind of stole my thunder. Scott gave a pretty good update. The only thing I don't think he mentioned was pink out on Fair Final Night. Are we not doing pink out?
Oh, yeah, pink out.
Yeah,
There you go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, for breast cancer awareness, usually October is breast cancer awareness month, so it's tied into the Fair Finals night. So there's some different projects going on to raise money for breast cancer research. Mike stole my thunder on the fairs. And I did want to, most of you saw Donnell up here in her previous position, but we do want to welcome Donnell Mock as our new executive director of the MSOA. That's all I have.
Yes, Scott has a tendency to steal everybody's thunder. We know Todd's not on today. We have Jim and Mike Simpson from the Standard Bread Readers. Jim and Mike. Jeff Matty. Jeff.
Jeff, last name Matty, M-A-T-T-Y, Executive Director of the PTHA. Just want to start off by thanking everyone, the commissioners, the commission itself, Jason, Tom, Izzy, all of you for doing your investigative work the week of Pennsylvania Derby. The PTHA is a proud partner with Parks on that, along with the commission, so we thank you for your efforts there. Can't thank the PHRA enough. Pete, Ashley, Jalen, their entire team. We really needed their help this year to help navigate through the Pennsylvania Derby week. Obviously, we're dealing with a few other things that have taken my attention away for a little bit of the matter. So really really appreciate the PHRA along with our staff for making things possible. As Joe mentioned, we had a great Pennsylvania Derby day. I think probably safe to say a record turnout, closest to California Chrome back in 2014. Mother Nature was very helpful, so that helped us greatly. Commissioner Ellis, we were on NBC Sports Philadelphia from 4:30 to 7 o'clock. We had over 23,000 people who tuned into that broadcast, so we'll continue to make that hopefully a raging success year over year. As Joe alluded to again, PTHA had a cocktail party on Friday night where we premiered our Smarty Jones documentary. It's a 36-minute documentary sort of taking fans and viewers along the ride of the Smarty Jones story. The PTHA is currently in negotiations with a few streaming platforms to get that up and running, hopefully by Thanksgiving around the holiday season. We are one of the finalists for the Philadelphia Film Festival. That's to take place the third week of October. So I believe there's 10 finalists, of which they will select 3. So we are currently in the running, so I ask you if you could please keep your fingers crossed for us. That would be a huge boost to our documentary moving forward. Trying to think what else. Yeah, that's about it. We launched our new social media platform, and I know you hear a lot about social media, but my one thing at the PTHA was we had so many different channels that I just wanted to make it very clear for the fan that might only tune in a week or two around PA Derby. So our social media channel is Pennsylvania Derby, pretty straightforward. One of our Facebook posts within the first week that we launched it had over 275,000 views. So we're on the right track there. Once we get PA Derby up and running at full steam, we're then going to pull back on a couple of our different channels because we just want fans to go to one spot. And I tell our staff this all the time, that I really don't care if the PTHA gets credit for social media or parks or whoever, as long as fans are coming out to the track, going to the races. It doesn't matter who gets the credit for it, because the average fan at home, they're not going to know what the PTHA is, nor do we really need them to know what the PTHA is. As long as they show up on the 3rd Saturday of September with a bunch of their friends and family and they come out to the races, it's a win for all of us. So we've always taken that approach, and we look forward to moving forward with that. And a couple of things we did leading up to PA Derby. We flew beach banners up and down the Jersey Shore, listing the Pennsylvania Derby, the date, and all of that. So they flew from Cape May to Atlantic City. So we had a couple runs there. A lot of people were texting myself, Joe, Rich Romano of the park staff, letting us know that they saw them, and it was a little bit of an outside the box idea. So we appreciate the grant fund for making things like that possible. So other than that, looking forward to a fall season, and we have our next big target is Del Valle Day, end of October. As we move forward to, last year we had 75 kids come out, we're hoping to get about 100 this year. So that's all I have.
Okay, Jim, thank you. Brian Sanfratello, third review. Brian?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Commissioners, and staff. I'm Brian Sanfratello, BRIAN-SANFRATELLO, Executive Secretary, Pennsylvania Horse Breeders Association. First, I'd like to thank Joe Wilson for all his time and effort in getting PA Derby Day together. It was a great day. And the PTHA and Jeff Matty for an outstanding video. We probably, I'm guessing, we probably had close to 200 people there, many of them legislators, on Friday night to premiere that video. So it was a great job. Good luck in your endeavors with that. Slot revenue transfers to the breeder fund on the second page of the handout. You'll see through August, it's down $2.3 million year to date. Again, some of that is understood because of the additional payments from 2023. I know Matt Ennis wasn't on today, but they had their grade 2 masters up there, in which Roses for Deborah won the Masters at Presque Isle. She's a Pennsylvania bred by Blackstone Farm. She's been doing very well. Hopefully she'll go on to the Breeders' Cup, and maybe we'll get another Breeders' Cup win. On the PA Derby, we had 4 $100,000 PA bred stakes, which included the first leg of our 2-year-old PA sired, PA bred stallion series. There are 6 races that make up that series. We got a lot of input on that, and hopefully we'll continue over the next year or so making progress there. This year, we have a $50,000 breeder award that's going to be given out to the breeder of top 3 breeders with the horse with the most points accumulated during that 6 stake sired series. $25,000 for first, $15,000 for second, and $10,000 for third. So I know there'll be a lot of a lot of people making sure that they get as many horses in as they can. So, also, the Thoroughbred newsletter is attached. It goes over PA Day at the races, which it was our 23rd annual one back in August. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Madam Chair, that's the industry reports, but we do have one public comment. So Dr. Langlois, you have the floor.
Thank you again. It's Brian, B-R-Y-A-N, Langlois, L-A-N-G-L-O-I-S. Thank you again to the Commission for allowing me to come up and give some comments. Just a couple of things. One, back in 2022, this Commission came up with the Equine Safety and Welfare Action Plan, which had 10 items on it. It was a great document. A lot of good came out of it. I was just wondering if potentially at the next meeting or the meeting after, we could get an update on where some of those standards stand. I do know that HISA coming along kind of probably took over and overtook some of those, but some of them probably are still things that the Commission could move forward on. So if we could just get a slight update on that, just to see where things stand, that would be great. The second one is I've come up a couple of years now and requested the committee or the Commission look into certain things such as mandating a veterinary vehicle following the horses around the track, potential scratches of horses that flip in the paddock or on their way to the post. And as I'm sure most of the commissioners know, action on that or discussion on that can't really take place unless the commissioner raises it as a potential agenda item. So I'm going to ask that a different tack is taken on that and that the Commission consider forming a committee to examine some of these issues and then come back to the Commission with possibly some recommendations on them to look at them. It really is important for the aspect of horse welfare and safety. The third item I wanted to talk about, and this kind of goes along towards some of the questions that were asked about handle in racing. The Commission, if they have not gotten it already, will probably be getting it very soon, the request for approval of takeout rates for the various tracks. Speaking from a handicapper's and a fan's perspective, you want to really try to increase handle. One of the big things, and you will hear it drummed again and again, drop the takeout, or do not allow them to charge the takeout rates they do. If they are, force them to justify to you guys why they need to take out rates what they are. Dick Girardi, who is probably the dean of racing writers in Philadelphia and has the utmost respect amongst the racing world, just said in a Horse Racing Nation article, some of these takeout rates, it's insanity. And if you look at the average takeout rate for racetracks in PA, is between 15 and 31%, depending on what the bet is. The average long-established takeout rate for just betting against the spread on a football game is 9%. So if you're going to ask the average gambler, hey, do you want to lose 9 cents on your dollar or 30 cents on your dollar, automatically, right when you place the bet, which are they going to choose? It's just something that has to be researched a little more, and it's talked about time and time and time again. And if the numbers bear out that these tracks have to charge that, I realize that slots revenue is down and that's affecting purses, and that a lot of handle goes to purses. Just make them, just ask them to justify it in numbers. And when you guys get those approval numbers, if you could say we've looked at this and yeah, the tracks have justified it or not, instead of just it kind of being approved. That would go a long way towards helping. There's a lot of other things, but takeout is the biggest thing that you will hear handicappers talk about time and time again. And then the final thing, and I've heard a lot of different comments, listened to people talk at this meeting, and it's a little disappointing. There was a problem with the Parks turf course. Everybody glanced over it. And it's a problem apparently that has been, if you look at some of the investigations that are now being done and some of the information coming out, that was not a short-term thing, that there were issues potentially with the course and with other things that have been going on for quite some time. And when you read about things saying now the irrigation system has been fixed, but would it have been fixed if HISA didn't come in and look at all of this stuff and find certain deficiencies? We don't know. And when you look at these things from a fan standpoint, it really begs the question of this particular situation of maybe saying the quiet part out loud. And that is, when you look at the true ownership of parks, which is the Greenwood Company, do they care? I mean, do they really care? Because if this was a case of really caring, this discussion, these issues wouldn't have happened. If you were going to provide a course for horses to run on, it has to be maintained to at least the minimum standards. And that standard cannot just be, we've only had 2 fatalities over the course over 5 years. You guys, I'm sure, have all seen some of the videos of what that course looked like. People saw on PHRA Day dirt claws flying back off that turf course, which is not normal. And they, after that horse suffered that unfortunate breakdown, they moved the turf race to the dirt out of an abundance of caution. So I would hope the commission would look into this a little bit more and maybe ask the owners of parks, not necessarily the management, but the owners who are above them, who have the money and the control the purse strings and all that, to come forward to this commission and really ask them, why did it get like that? Because I think that that's something that really needs to be evaluated. I do think that, in this particular instance with this turf course, I think there's other potential blame to go around potentially with HISA if they gave the okay to race on it or not. But this was not a problem with this turf course that has been a short thing. Oh, all of a sudden we noticed it. This has been going on for years. And it should have been remedied. And a horse potentially, and I'm going to say potentially, we don't know all the details and all that stuff yet. A horse is dead because of it. So, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lingua. I appreciate your perspective as a fan of the sport and what you're doing to try to make more fans of the sport. And thank you for your thoughtful comments. As always, commit to you, the commission will take your comments under advisement. Are there any other public comments, Tony?
Yeah, Chairman, I just wanted to, we've asked a lot of questions of Pete and Ashley and their staff, but I'm just going to make my own personal comment that they do a terrific job. They have great enthusiasm for everything they're involved in, and we're glad to have them as part of our team. So thank you all, Pete and Ashley and your staff. Thank you.
All right, thank you to all. If there are no other public comments, our next regularly scheduled public meeting will be Tuesday, October 29th at 1 p.m. Hopefully Secretary Redding will be able to join you today. He's in Indianapolis with the National Association of State Departments of Agriculture. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there a second?
Cool.
Okay. I'll assume everybody said yes, and I'll wish you all